Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my top eyeshadow palettes of the year. I was thinking about eyeshadow and really I only use palettes typically. I don't typically have singles. I usually have maybe like some toppers, some glitter, some pigments, but this is just my eyeshadows that I love. I don't typically use single shadows, unfortunately. I just find it kind of difficult, especially being a YouTuber. There's so many new palettes I'm trying to keep up. So I really narrowed it down, and there's really only maybe like 7 eyeshadow palettes I'm going to tell you about. They're my favorites. I'm going to put all of the prices on the screen just to let you know what kind of price range we're talking about. And I'm going to show you some swatches and why I love them. So if you're new here, please subscribe, and let's begin the video. So the first palette I'm going to talk about is something that everybody has been raving about. The first time I tried it, I will admit that I thought it was nice, but I wasn't like blown away. And I can tell you the more I use it, the more I love it. Specifically, the way that it blends and the pigment that you get. I'm actually wearing it right now. And also just how many beautiful warm mustardy transition shades there are in this palette. And I'm talking about the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I honestly think this is a phenomenal palette. Like I said, when I first used it, I thought, oh, it's nice, you know, oh, it's comparable to other Morphe shadows. But then when I really started using it, I mean, for me, I have so many eyeshadow palettes that if I'm like continually dipping into this on a daily basis, I know that it stands out from the rest. And I just think it is so gorgeous. Specifically, these 6 kind of matte shades right here are just the perfect shades for the crease, and I think a lot of people would be afraid to use like this mustard shade, but it is one of my favorite shades in the palette. I started out my eye look today with that. It's just stunning. And then up in this realm you have these beautiful like pink champagne shimmers. This gold is one of my favorite shades in the entire palette. It is intense. And then you can go cool toned if you like to, which I've used those sometimes. There is a couple really cool tones in here, like this taupey gunmetal, and this is kind of like a taupey champagne. So it is able to go cool, but this is technically a warm palette. I just think these transition shades, really the top 2 rows, are like my most used. I just feel like every day, perfect transition shade. I will put the price on the screen. I think you're getting seriously a bang for your buck, so I will link it down below. I just think it's worth it. I think it's just a beautiful palette, and as I said, the more I use it, the more I fall in love with it. Now I might, if you want me to, I can link down below my tutorials. I think I've done 4 or 5 so far with this palette, and they're all very different, which is why I love this palette. So if you're on the fence, just go for it. I really have not ever talked to anyone that was disappointed. This palette just gets better and better. This next palette is a fairly new palette, but I fell in love immediately, and I think it is really one of their best palettes of the year. And this is the ColourPop Element of Surprise palette. These colors just speak to me. I am so into really warm, rich, kind of caramel shades, and then if you throw in like a pink or even a purple, something about the warmth with those shades just looks stunning. I'm obsessed with this palette. I did wear this in a couple of videos and I had so many people asking me, but just even this duochrome, ooh. And then you do have some, you know, typical shades or more wearable kind of bronzy shades. You've got duochrome up here. You've got just beautiful transition shades. I think that's what stands out to me in this palette. You can see you do have 3 options for transition shades. So you can go light, medium, and deep. This one is a little bit more cool toned, and this one is definitely warm and more like camel-like. So this palette blends like an absolute dream. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful for fall, but I feel like you could even use it in the summertime if you want to just sweep some of these in your crease and then pop this on your lid, which is like an iridescent pink. I really, truly think this is one of the best palettes that ColourPop has come out with, and it is my top pick. If I had to choose one ColourPop palette, this would be the one I would tell you. It's affordable, it's gorgeous, and I will link it down below. If you like these colors, you will enjoy this palette. This next palette is the most expensive palette that was my favorite this year, or that I would recommend to you guys. And as I was going through my favorites, I realized that I'm really an indie girl at heart, or I don't typically love the eyeshadows that come from mainstream brands, meaning like Sephora brands. I just feel like they're a little bit too safe, and sometimes the pigment isn't what I'm looking for. So I tend to gravitate towards indie brands or brands that are not kind of in Sephora, or maybe are just like new to Sephora, just because, you know, everything's kind of expanding. But in terms of Sephora, this is by far the best palette of the year. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. gorgeous, gorgeous palette. Again, we're in the same realm as the palette I just showed you, but you've got a lot more richness in this one. Of course, you've got more selection because there are more shades. You've got this beautiful amethyst shade. Again, something about golds and purples are just so stunning, and I feel like people are kind of afraid. They see orange or they see purple and they think it's not wearable, and this is so wearable. You've got a couple transition shades that you can go either way. You can go kind of neutral brown, or you can go that peachy color. Stunning. And then you've got deeper shades to deepen it. The only thing I would say is I feel like this should have one black, but other than that, I think it's beautiful. You've got a couple duochrome shades in here, which I mean are stunning. They're like toppers. There's a lot of different textures in here. I think the mattes just blend beautifully. Ooh, just so pretty. This is just like up my alley. The mattes are stunning. Typically the way I like to do my makeup is some beautiful mattes, and then I like to put like a duochrome or a glitter or a pigment on the lid, and this kind of gives me that because it does have these beautiful, you know, shiny shades. I'm just in awe of this palette. It is very pricey, but in my opinion, it is worth it. Just a beautiful palette overall. I really think Huda Beauty hits the mark in terms of colors, in my opinion. It's a little bit outside the box, but it's still wearable. It's not that safe, you know, 10 shades of brown. I get very bored with that, and I think that's why I kind of see a lot of palettes that are in Sephora and I say, oh yeah, they're okay, but I'm not blown away. And I actually, like, my jaw dropped when I opened this. I really honestly was like, wow, it's just that beautiful. And my mind started going into, I can go, you know, purple, and I can go orange, and I can go neutral. There's so many things I could do with this. It's just beautiful. So if you were kind of teetering and you want to treat yourself, I would recommend this. This next palette is something that is very similar to the palettes I've been showing before in terms of it has neutral colors and it's like wearable, but it's going to get you out of your comfort zone. And this is the Saharan by Juvia's Place. Now, if you haven't tried Juvia's Place shadows, please stop this video right now and make an order. If you haven't tried any of their stuff, it's unreal. The price is insane. That's what I love about the stuff that I'm mentioning is, you know, Morphe and Juvia's Place and ColourPop. Their shadows are so creamy and so pigmented, and they're affordable, and that's what I'm looking for too. Now, of course, I do love like Natasha Denona and stuff, but when I'm really thinking about the whole year and what is in my travel bag, what is in my top drawer, what do I reach for, what mattes are really blowing me away, these are stunning. This palette, if you look at this shade, a lot of people would be terrified. This is gorgeous in the crease. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the pigment on this. And the prices, this, I did a tutorial with this. You would be like, these colors would never go together, and they somehow do. Oh my God, I literally can't get over it. You've got a beautiful, you know, gold in there. Oh, these, like, when you swatch them, you're just like, what is life? I cannot believe that this is so affordable. The mattes blend so beautifully. I mean, look at this pigment payoff. They're affordable, and what I like about it, again, is you do have, you know, this neutral zone where you're like, oh yeah, this is neutral, I could wear this. But then you've got these kind of colors that are going to take you out of the box, right? You would say, well, I would never wear that. Just try it, you guys. I'm telling you, it's so stunning on the outer corner of the eye. It's just going to really give you that punch that you're looking for. I get so bored with like the neutral stuff, and even today my look is so neutral. It's more neutral than I typically would go for. So I feel like a lot of people are just afraid to get out of that box, and Juvia's Place will push you. All right, so my last palette is something that blew me away even more when I actually applied it to my eyes, especially, well, actually both. The mattes blended so beautifully and creamy, but the metallics with a brush applied so gorgeous, like not chunky, just so metallic. And this is gonna be the Morphe 39A palette. First of all, this palette is huge. I'm trying to hold it in the frame. This palette is stunning. I mean, it really is. They stepped their game up, even though, like I said, the Jaclyn Hill palette is great, and I even like the Morphe 3502. There's so many different options, but this palette is a smoky eye person's like dream. I mean, you've got really nice neutrals in here. Of course, you've got the fiery shades, you've got the green neutrals, and then you've got the cool tone blues. Then you've got these big transition pans in the middle, and when I did a tutorial, I think I used these two blues, and they just applied so metallic on the eye, I was actually blown away. Now the only thing I will say about this palette, it is very dark and smoky. So for daytime use, you could use, you know, the neutral shades in the middle or the transition shades, but this is gonna be a smoky eye palette. This is like a nighttime palette. This doesn't have a lot of light pinks, light champagnes, light golds. There's really not a light color in here. So I will say, yeah, there isn't. So this is gonna be like a bronzy, sultry, smoky eye palette. You're not gonna use this, you know, every day, you know, like a warm in the crease and then pop a gold on the inner corner. This doesn't have that. So this is definitely a deep, I would say, nighttime palette, but the way these perform on the eyes and just swatching the mattes, they feel wet. They're like creamy. So they definitely changed their formula. It's a huge palette. You get so many different colors. So I just feel like it's an amazing palette and I reach for it. It stays in my top drawer again for daily use because I would use the transition shades, you know, in my crease. But I do wish, if I would have to make a criticism, I do wish that there was maybe like 4 pans of light shades. But I see kind of their vision with this. And I almost just want to play with these like so bad. I haven't played with them yet. So if you're looking for a nighttime smoky palette that performs very, very well, then check this out. Alright guys, so that is my favorite palettes of 2017. I hope I didn't miss anything, but these are really the ones that stay in my filming room. So typically I have a lot of my makeup stored in another room and I keep my favorites in my top drawer right here. I have like 4 drawers on each side of me. I love that they're all affordable, and from doing this I realized that I just don't like the mainstream things. A lot of the time they're not my favorites. They're okay, but I find them to be boring. So these were the ones that stood out to me. Let me know down below what palettes really stole your heart this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.